She didn't invite friend to wedding. Was it fair? Before we begin, I would love to say that I'm going to keep this short and sweet, but I have ADHD, so my mind wanders. Anyway, for context, I, 28F, have 2 kids, and for my son's birthday about a little over a month ago, we decided to celebrate on the weekend by taking a trip to the big water park about an hour drive away. We wanted to keep the guest list for this event small, as we were already doing something at home on his actual birthday during the week. The drive is a bit far, and the cost for admission to the park is pretty pricey. I created a Facebook event and invited a few of our closest family and friends. I stated on the invitation that all guests would be paying for themselves. We would have a meeting point with shade, a table S&D decorations set up, and we would provide lunch and cupcakes. Well, when I was going through my friends list, I guess accidentally clicked on someone, 24F, let's call her Sarah, who wasn't originally on my guest list. This friend, Sarah, was someone who I was not super close with. I had only met her through mutual friends. Sarah and her kids had never been invited to any of my children's birthday parties before, as we mostly only see each other at events and through our mutual friends, only a couple times a year. We don't necessarily hang out on our own terms. Her kids and my kids are somewhat around the same ages, but I wouldn't consider them to be friends. They've played with each other before in passing, but not close friends by any means. Sarah's kids are rude, entitled, obnoxious. They say cuss words and get unlimited unsupervised iPad/screen time. My children are the exact opposite. When I created the Facebook event, at first, I didn't even realize that I had clicked her name for the invite until I got the notification saying that she had marked herself as going. I checked the settings to see if maybe I had set it to public, or if anyone else had added her. Nope, invite by host only.
Crap.
I didn't freak out, I remained calm. I just seen her recently at a previous event and figured it would be rude to uninvite her now. What's the harm in adding a couple more people, right?
Wrong.
Now here's the part where it all starts to tie into why I think that I might be an but please hear me out. Sarah has 4 kids, all within the ages of 5 months old to 6 years old. Sarah also has unfortunately raised some red flags within our friend group in the past, in regard to not showing up as a good friend, setting a bad example for her kids, getting too involved in other people's business, borrowing money, and issues surrounding food. What I mean by issues surrounding food, they eat a lot. And I know what you're probably thinking, well, of course her family is going to eat a lot. It's 4 kids and 2 adults, that's 6 mouths to feed. Yes, I understand, I really do. But it's more than just that. Sarah is a bigger woman. Her children are also more on the plump side, while her fiancé is as thin as a board. And I'm not judging them on their weight. I'm not trying to shame them or call them fat, I promise. I'm just saying that when they are present at events, their family noticeably eats more than any other family. Sarah is really close friends with one of my besties. Let's call her Tatiana. At Tatiana's daughter's birthday party, Sarah alone ate 5 slices of pizza, her fiancé 4, and her 2 oldest children each ate 3. At the time her youngest wasn't born and her third only had a few teeth, so he just gnawed on a small piece. That's 16 slices of pizza for her family alone, not to mention the rest of the guests. When ordering the pizza, Tatiana asked me if I thought it would be enough for everyone. I told her to add an extra pizza, or 2 just in case, and then she could keep the leftovers. She ordered an extra 2 cheese pizzas for the kids. If it was a small get-together, sure, eat as much as you want. But when the pizza came, Sarah and her family were first in line. And when you're the first family to get in line to grab a plate, you don't take a majority of the pizza. That's rude. Unless you're the host / the one who paid for the food. The courteous thing to do would be starting with 1 or 2 slices and then go back for more once everyone has had the chance to eat. Tatiana and her husband didn't even get a single slice of pizza because they waited until everyone got at least 1 slice. The birthday girl herself only got 1 slice, and when she asked for a second slice, there wasn't any left. It wasn't like Tatiana was unprepared. She ordered extra. It was frustrating, people noticed and whispered, but no one said anything to Sarah. Fast forward to Thanksgiving, another friend, let's call her Kaylee, in the friend group invited Tatiana and her family over for a little Friendsgiving meal the weekend before actual Thanksgiving Day. While on a group FaceTime call with Sarah and Kaylee, Kaylee also only met Sarah through Tatiana. Tatiana had brought up that she was going to Kaylee's house for Friendsgiving. Sarah lives in a different city and had plans that weekend with her in-laws, who happened to live close to Kaylee's house. Kaylee knew that and said to Sarah that if she had time to come say hi, that she would love for her to come stop by for a quick visit on her way to or from her in-laws' house, since it's been a while since they'd last seen each other. It seemed that Sarah apparently took that sentence as an invitation to the feast. It was not an invitation to the feast. The feast was organized and paid for by the small group of 2 families who all contributed mutually. Later that evening, Sarah had texted Kaylee saying something along the lines of, she's too tired to come over for a visit, but if Kaylee could make her to-go plate with the leftovers and meet her at the door, then they could come by and pick it up on their way home. Kaylee was appalled. She had never invited Sarah and her family to join them for dinner in the first place, and then to say you're too tired to come visit, but then ask for the leftovers in the same text message? Unreal. TLDR, enough background stories on Sarah. Let's jump back to my son's birthday. As I mentioned before, the price of admission for the water park is pretty expensive. They don't offer any deals, discounts, or special rates for groups or families. If your child is above 36 inches, they pay full price for admission. Sarah does not work. Her fiancé is also between jobs. Sarah had mentioned to Tatiana on a phone call about how she didn't have a babysitter for her youngest baby for the water park and she didn't want to bring him with her because she wanted to enjoy the pool and water slides. Tatiana was offering suggestions and solutions for a babysitter when Sarah cuts her off mid-sentence and says that she's too broke to afford the park passes for all of them and asked if she could borrow some money to cover the cost for some of the admission. Sarah had previously borrowed money from Tatiana in the past and, at that point, still had not paid her back in full. Tatiana explained to Sarah that she couldn't afford to pay for her family on top of paying for the cost of her own kids and herself. Tatiana only has 2 kids as well. Sarah seemed to get noticeably irritated and ended the call shortly after. 2 days before the event, I was going through my list and just confirming my numbers for attendance, finalizing my head count for food preparations. I had called Sarah to confirm if her family was coming. She told me she wasn't sure yet, but would let me know later when she figured it out. She never got back to me. Now, the day of the party. For food, I ordered a big Costco-sized platter of sandwiches for lunch and provided chips, candy, fruit and veggie platters as well as meat and cheese. I had more than enough for the small number of guests attending. Everyone starts to arrive, and walking through the crowd I see Sarah, her fiancé, and their 4 kids in tow. I had no problems with them coming, but a little heads up would have been great. During the party, their family ate a majority of the food. Costco cuts the sandwiches on the platter into halves. As I was cleaning up the food, getting ready to sing happy birthday and light the candles on the cupcakes, I had the sandwich platter in my hands as well as a few other things stacked on top. Sarah asks me if there was any more sandwiches left. Sarah and her family had all already eaten at this point. I said, yeah, just give me a second to put this stuff down, and then I walked over to where she was sitting. I opened the platter and let her pick which sandwich she wanted. There was only 6 halves of the sandwiches left, so that would make 3 whole sandwiches. Sarah reaches her hand in and grabs 3 halves, and as I'm closing the lid, her fiancé comes up behind me, reaches his hand in, and takes 2 halves, leaving only 1 half of a sandwich left. As I'm walking over to put it away, my daughter asked if there was any sandwiches left. I gave her that last piece. I myself, the one who paid for the platter, only got to eat 1 half of a sandwich. My own fault, I know. I should have ate more, but I was so busy trying to chase my kids around the park and host the party, I didn't take a second half sooner, because I thought there would be enough with the amount of leftovers in the box when it was time to clean up. Sarah's kids had been asking for the last 20 minutes. When is it time for cupcakes? Over and over and over again, even though I had told them over and over and over again when we would be having the cupcakes. Once I set the cupcakes out on the table, before I could even reach around to grab a lighter to light the candles, Sarah's daughter pushed past me and stuck her fingers directly into the blue icing on the cupcake right at the top of the 3-tier stand, which happened to be the exact cupcake that I was going to put the candle on for my son. I was furious. I gave her trouble and told her not to stick her fingers in the cupcakes. I told her to go sit down and wait for us to sing happy birthday like everyone else, or she wouldn't be getting any cupcakes at all.
She didn't like that.
She ran away, crying, looking for her dad. I didn't care. Don't touch my son's cupcakes. After we sang, I handed out cupcakes to everyone. With the last-minute addition of Sarah and her clan, there was only enough for everyone to have one cupcake, not two. I told everyone this from the start. I told my kids that if all the kids got a cupcake and all the adults got a cupcake and there was still some left over, that they could have another one once we left for the drive home. Well, apparently while I was helping my daughter in the bathroom, Sarah's kids decided to take it upon themselves to just go crazy with the cupcakes. Every other child had one cupcake only. Sarah's kids each got two. Sarah and her family ate a majority of the food, and also were the only ones to not bring a gift. Not that gifts are a requirement to attend a children's party, but all I'm saying is, I've never shown up to a party empty-handed, and especially one that I didn't 100% confirm my attendance at before showing up and eating all the free food. I was so annoyed by the end of it all. I do not want to invite them to another one of my events. Now, my daughter's 3rd birthday is coming up next month. Like I said above, I had never invited Sarah or her kids to any of my children's birthday parties before, as we are not that close and our children are not really friends. I do not want to / do not plan to invite them to this birthday party. Once again, I'd like to keep it small. Her first birthday was way too crowded with 50+ people, including majority family and some friends. Her second birthday, we had a family emergency come up and had to cancel her party, so we only did a small celebration at home. This year, we want to do something fun and really special for her. I only want it to be super tight, close friends and family who are a part of her everyday life. I also don't want to invite Sarah, because 1, she's not a close friend, and 2, it's going to be more expensive for food because her family of 6 is going to eat enough food for a family of 16. I'm just worried that now, since she's been invited to one party, it might have set the unintentional expectation / assumption that she's going to be invited to future event, and she might be offended if she doesn't get an invite to this one. So, would I be the AH for not wanting to invite someone to my daughter's birthday party because they have too many rotten kids and their family eats too much? At the end of the day, even if I'm the AH, I really just don't want to invite insignificant people to my child's birthday party who don't have a meaningful connection with her. Asterisk quick, but I feel is a necessary edit. I only posted this about half an hour ago. Every single other person who is in attendance at my son's party will be invited to my daughter's party. That's why I'm wondering if I'm the AH, because I'll be excluding only her family. It was supposed to be a small number of people from the start with my son's party. The only people who were out of place was Sarah and her family. But Tatiana and Kaylee, mutual friends, will be there, and I'm not so much worried about them telling her about it beforehand. It's her seeing pictures of us after the party and making snide comments to us / making a fuss over not being invited because, well, she's just like that. It's annoying and petty, and she's younger than us and her frontal lobe hasn't fully developed yet, so maybe that's why. But she just loves the drama and loves to start stuff, almost like petty high school beef. The whole group of 6 of us is all 28 to 31. She's the only 24-year-old. And my anxiety with the people pleaser in me has just been causing me to way overthink this. That's why I came here to air it all out. Thank you for reading my super unnecessarily long post.